Ayo, back at it again with another video. Thank you all for watching. I greatly appreciate it. So, I talk a lot about sports on the channel and a lot about politics, so I decided to combine the two. So, this is the SEC's path to 270. So, the SEC recently expanded with Texas and Oklahoma. But if you look at the SEC map, you already got Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Kentucky. That's the current SEC map. You got Texas, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mizzou, Kentucky, Vandy, Tennessee. You got Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida. Now, obviously, if the SEC decides to expand again, they could take other schools like Clemson, Florida State, Miami, Georgia Tech, Louisville, maybe. But right now, if they are trying to get to 270, they are falling a little bit short. So they are currently at 160, which means you got to get another 110 in terms of electoral college votes. So if you look at the SEC, the next logical places for expansion are probably into North Carolina and into Virginia. If you take some schools, you take some Tobacco Road schools like in North Carolina, NC State, Duke, Wake Forest, or Virginia Tech or Virginia, you move into the middle Atlantic states of Virginia and North Carolina. So, currently at 160, you add schools in those two states, you add 29 more votes, which gets you up to 189, which is still short of the 270 threshold. So, you have some options to kind of expand the map even further. Maybe you continue up the eastern seaboard. You maybe take, I don't know, the backyard brawl with West Virginia and Pitt. Let's say you take that. 212. You're still short. Where do you go? Do you take, maybe somehow you convince Notre Dame? I don't know. That wouldn't even really get you to 270. That would only get you to 223. The big state you probably would have to go into would probably be California. Maybe move out west a little bit. Instead of maintaining your regionality of the Southeast, maybe you just take the entire Sun Belt. Obviously, we already have a football conference named the Sun Belt. They are at G6. But let's say the Southeastern Conference moves westward. You could take Kansas or Kansas State, depending on what you want. Do you want a basketball blue blood, or do you want a pretty decent football program in Kansas State? That would get you to 195 with the additions of Virginia schools, North Carolina schools, maybe a Colorado, maybe in Arizona State, maybe a Utah or BYU. But if you move into California and you take some kind of California school, I don't know. There's a wide range of possibilities of California schools. You get 54 of California's votes, and that gets you to 276. That gets you to the 270 threshold. So you would get into Virginia, North Carolina, maybe take a Kansas or Kansas State, Colorado, a Utah, BYU, Arizona State. I don't know, maybe you can take a whole bunch of different schools. In California, USC, UCLA, currently in the Big Ten, Cal and Stanford in the ACC. Ultimately, if you move up along the Atlantic seaboard into Virginia and North Carolina. You move into the plains and the Rocky Mountains area of the country and expand westward to California. The SEC gets up to 276. 6 more than the 270 to win the presidency. So there's a lot of different opportunities for the SEC to get up to 270. You can continue going up the eastern seaboard, Virginia, North Carolina, maybe get into West Virginia and Pitt, maybe. That's a pretty solid rivalry. That's a possibility. That would only get you up to 212. So it looks like that would only get you to 189, but then you decide, let's expand westward, take a Kansas school, Colorado school, you get your Four Corners, and then a California school. That's the easiest route to 276, well, or 270 and above for the SEC. You take some Mid-Atlantic state schools, Tobacco Road, Virginia Tech, Virginia. Maybe you take Kansas for a basketball blue blood. Maybe you pair Kansas with Kentucky and North Carolina or Duke for your basketball. Maybe you take some pretty decent football programs in the Four Corners. Maybe you take a California school and gets you up to 276. So the road to 270 for the Southeastern Conference. You kind of have to expand out of the Southeast and kind of move up to the Mid-Atlantic, move into the plains, and ultimately move to California to kind of get your whole Sun Belt 270. Just a cool, interesting thought experiment. Thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video. Deuces.